Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to HitScan. We haven't actually made a video since Echo was put onto the PTR earlier this week, so I wanted to do a bit of a roundup of the main information that came from interviews with Jeff Kaplan and some of the other Overwatch team for people like AlphaCast, GameSpot, IGN, Sinatra, Tim, highlighting some important information that people have definitely missed. Before we get started, a quick shout out to Omen. We'll be talking about them a little later in the video, but in case you didn't know, there's going to be a show match tonight as this video goes out, where some of the pros will be playing Echo. Omen are no longer a sponsor for the Overwatch League, but we'll be making more of our Omen videos, sort of highlighting the sort of clips that you can see from that, breaking down how the pros play Echo. One of the main questions, I suppose, for Echo is when is she going to hit the live servers? If you look at previous launches of heroes from the PTR to live, it's usually around 3 weeks, sometimes 4. But Jeff actually did say that in this case, it may be a little bit longer. Take a listen.
She will be going live soon, but it will be probably a prolonged PTR period because a hero takes a lot of testing, a lot of tuning, balancing, bug fixing. And we think when she comes into the game and you all have a chance to play her, it will be a completely different version of Overwatch, and we hope you love it. Thanks so much.
Not only is Echo more complicated than some of the other heroes that we've had in the past, but of course with everything going on in the world at the moment, it's fair to give Blizzard a bit of leeway when it comes to getting this hero onto the live servers. We get to play her, we get to try her out, unless you're a console player, of course. But I think it's fair to give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt in a situation like the one that we're in currently. But as Jeff highlighted multiple times in multiple interviews, Echo is a very buggy hero. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. So again, it might take a little bit longer, maybe about a month. Could even be as long as 6 weeks, but I doubt it would be that long. But it's maybe not coming out in 3 weeks' time, just before you get that idea in your head. When it comes to big information, I suppose one of the more common things that has been said in interviews with Stylosa and IGN is that Echo is going to be the last hero that Overwatch gets until Overwatch 2 releases. We'll talk about when that could be, because that really isn't that far away apparently. To quote, "We don't know yet when Overwatch 2 will release, but since Echo will be the last hero for the base Overwatch game, we don't expect it to be years until the game sees the light of day." We also do know from previous information that Overwatch 2 will be launching with multiple heroes, maybe even as many as 5 or 6 going off previous mentions. But one main thing that I did want to highlight, and this came from the AlphaCast interview with one of the developers, Ronald Garad, horrible pronunciation, I'm so sorry. But to quote, "The sooner Overwatch 2 is out, the better." And Jeff actually told some French media that the game was coming out in autumn 2020, but nobody is confirming anything at this point. I think that's pretty telling that Jeff went out to say that this is when the game would be coming, and it would line up quite nicely. I'd say that autumn, September, October time would be good. It was 8 months ago that we had Sigma, that would be roughly 8 months away. So it would make sense that Echo would come out between Sigma and the launch of Overwatch 2. A lot of people got upset that Echo was a DPS hero and not a support. Well, some of you may know by now. If not, Echo originally was a support. Quote GameSpot, "The original idea was to keep her a support and then you'd be able to do this full clone ability that she had now, but then pretty quickly we realised that the ultimate is really cool, but it's not really good to work as a support. I don't think you want your healer to suddenly become a tank or DPS and then you don't have a healer, where somebody in a DPS role is much more flexible." So that's when they started going down the damage route and developed the rest of her kit to support that. On the subject of why Echo was a DPS, Renald highlighted the fact that the last 2 characters were a support and a tank, so the devs wanted to make a really fun, flexible DPS. The last DPS hero that we had was Ashe, and that was a year and a half ago, so that kind of does make sense. He also did mention that Echo is a love letter to all of the flexible players who are good at every hero. She has a nice progression and learning curve, similar to Genji or Doomfist. And even Jeff highlighted in the past that players like Shofor would absolutely love playing this character because of how flexible they can be, because they can change to anyone in the Overwatch cast. But of course we know multiple heroes are coming in for Overwatch 2. It's fair to say that multiple of those are going to be supports, as Jeff Kaplan said that they have tanks and supports in the works, and they said that tanks and supports would be hitting with Overwatch 2 no doubt. So again, stuff that we know, but it really does add to the pile that the next fair few heroes are going to be tanks and supports. Even going as far as when Ashe was launched, I remember that interview with Emon, that the next 6 to 7 heroes would be tanks and supports. But here's where we get to the part of the video talking about what's in the title. Blizzard are very open now to the idea that they're going to be killing off some aspects of CC to get it under control. To not misquote him or really sort of overemphasize aspects of what Jeff Kaplan said here, I'm just going to play the full clip where he was talking to Sinatra.
I don't know, just something about freezing in video games I just don't like.
Yeah.
But that's just a me thing.
We're trying to chill out on some of the CC.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it a little bit under control,
Yeah.
They're already going after main some capacity with the CC that she has. I'm kind of glad that Echo doesn't have any form of CC really, so it's good to know that Blizzard are moving away from that direction entirely. But more still needs to be done. It's nice to hear though, I suppose. In regards to balance of Echo, they've already nerfed some aspects of her kit. There was a quality of life fix to her ultimate, which meant that she can't duplicate targets if they're behind an enemy barrier. We tested this in our myth busting experimental video, and we sort of assumed it would be a bug because it doesn't line up with any of the other abilities. You can't hack a target behind a barrier, you can't put a Discord orb on a target behind a barrier. It would make sense that you can't duplicate one, so I don't really consider this a buff. I do see this as a bug fix, something that they just didn't realize when they put it out. But he also nerfed the super jump ability that Echo had, where you would use her fly, instantly cancel it, and you could slingshot yourself across the sky, very similar to how Mercy could do it with her Guardian Angel. So that's been changed. It's still relatively strong, but not as strong as it used to be. But Jeff has said, and all of the other staff as well have said, that they're very much open to the idea of nerfing Echo, as she has come into the game fairly hot, fairly strong, and like Reynolds says, she has a lot of balance levels to tweak, and that they're already seeing things to change. Expect a patch next week, so no doubt more stuff is coming. The changes that we've seen so far are just more quality of life bug fixing than actual number tone downs. So I don't think we should be worrying about the balance of Echo. I've already seen that the changes to her super jump have already brought her down a peg to a point where she's a lot more manageable, but we'll have to see how that works in the future, especially when it comes to how her ult is used with generating multiple ultimates and its duration. That for me seems a bit too strong, but we'll see. In regards to other miscellaneous information that I think is worth highlighting, 132 triple DPS was something that the devs toyed with a little bit, but they said that it's no longer at the top of the change list. They noticed the community feedback was kind of bad and the changes on standby, if not dead already. But I guess that's what the experimental changes are for. Also, in case you missed it, a new assault map is on the way, some point soon at least. We're not quite sure when that will be coming, but maybe we'll see it on the PTR at some point soon, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm looking forward to it. Finally, if you didn't know, Ana now has a confirmed target option for her nano boost, meaning that you could lock it onto, say, a Genji that you want to nano boost when he uses his blade. You don't need to worry about trying to hit the target when he's in the air that you can't see. You even have a split second of being able to nano boost people behind line of sight, so if the Genji does dive up into the air and you can't see him, you should be given a bit of benefit of the doubt. It's just a great quality of life feature to use if you are an Ana player. I think it really just ups the skill of the game a little bit, making sure that you don't, nano boost somebody that you didn't mean to nano boost, gives you a lot more control and thus a lot more strength. And of course the changes to Tracer's blinks, they're a lot more responsive. You can do a lot more with them, blinking up to higher terrain as an example. Just a few ways that the game is now being a lot more responsive, a lot more clever with how it uses its abilities. I would say that Blizzard is heading in the right direction with this game, but I do want to make a video at some point talking about how Echo is the good and the bad when it comes to how Overwatch is balanced. She's a great Overwatch hero, but also she's crazy when it comes to balance and all of the stuff that she can do. But we'll talk about that some other time. I just wanted to highlight all of the important information that we've heard, and certainly stuff that people may have missed. The stuff about Overwatch 2 coming out potentially later this year was something that we heard in the grapevine, but apparently Jeff Kaplan's been going around saying that it's coming in autumn. Not really confirmed, of course, but it's worth bearing in mind, I suppose, and helps you work out what Blizzard want to do for the rest of the year. I'm sure we'll be hearing about that fairly soon, but it's hard to say with all of the events being postponed and stuff. Killing off CC would also be really cool. I don't think they really need to do much other than change in May. I don't think all of the other CCs necessarily is bad, but we'll have to see on that. But definitely don't expect Echo to be on the PTR for like a week and then go into live. She's going to be on there a little bit longer. So there's just, again, a lot of information I wanted to re-emphasize because it is important, but no doubt a good amount of it people missed because of all of the information on at the moment. There's a lot of just statements here or there that people may have just gone past. But that's the end of this video. I did want to talk about Omen for a bit. We've been able to do some amazing stuff over the year, being able to go to events and stuff, but even in a time where we are mostly staying at home, like now and the rest of the world, it's still cool to be able to work with these guys. They've supported us for well over a year, which helps making content on the YouTube channel, especially in quieter periods before new heroes were announced. and being able to use some of their stuff like the Omen 15 laptops when we go away, or even when we're staying here, it's something I really wanted to highlight and be super appreciative of now. It's fair to say that without them we wouldn't be able to do this full time like we have been able to over the past 5 years or so really big shout out to them. If you're in need of a laptop or any other equipment like that, then do definitely check them out in the description below, especially if you want to get stuff for your home set up for the next couple of months or so. But that's everything that I wanted to highlight. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry about the cold. It's not what you think it is, don't worry. Just a bit bunged up today. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you then.